morning, viewers, and welcome to the program. Thank you for keeping the date, and I'm glad to be coming your way. Last week I promised you an exciting contest, and I'm not taking that back. Just sit back and relax. We'll be back shortly. Hello again. Today's contest is the second in the 1A final series, and competing are Presec School from Legon and St. John Secondary School from Koforidua. To my immediate right, we have the contestants from Presec. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves to our viewers.
Bukai Armstrong, SS3. Chief Yao Butcher, SS3. Mamina Spin, SS3.
The contestants from St. John are to the far right. Please introduce yourselves.
Michael Meku, SS3. Edward Donko, SS3. Andrew Kwao, SS3.
Well, welcome, gentlemen. I'm really looking forward to this. I hope you don't disappoint me and you don't disappoint our viewers. We'll have 5 rounds of competition, and of course, we'll start with round 1. You have 15 seconds within which to give me an answer. A correct answer earns you 3 points. I may pass a major question answered incorrectly on to be attempted only once for a bonus point of 1. You take the first question to set. The cardiac cycle has 2 phases, namely the systolic phase and the diastolic phase. What happens during the diastolic phase? Only one attempt. During
the diastolic phase, the heart muscles relax, and the atrium, both the right and the left receive blood.
That's all right, Armstrong. Yeah, all I wanted was the relaxation of the heart chamber, so that's enough, and you get the 2 marks. So, John, your question. What causes the second heart sound? Only one attempt. Andrew.
The closure of the semilunar valve.
And that's correct. Presec, your question. Define electric field intensity. Electric field intensity. 10.
The electric field intensity as a point in an electric field, it is the electric force which is exerted on a unit positive charge placed at that point.
That is correct. For John Secondary, define potential difference between 2 points in an electric field. Edward.
This is the work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to the other.
I'll give you the math. Is the work done or the energy required to do that? Presec, your question. Find the remainder when f of x equals x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 1 is divided by x minus 1. 10. That is correct. So, John, find the remainder when f of x equals 2x squared minus 5x plus 2 is divided by x minus 2. Edward.
0.
0 is correct. Presec, your question. Take Charles' law and give the condition under which gases deviate from the law. 10.
It says that the volume of a fixed mass of a gas at constant pressure is directly proportional to the absolute temperature, and the conditions are the mass should be fixed and also the pressure should be constant.
I won't say the conditions. Yes, in the conditions. The conditions are yes, conditions.
Okay, the conditions are the attractive forces between the gases is not negligible, and also the volume occupied by the gases.
No, I'll give you 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. That is Charles' law that is stated, and gases deviate from that law at high temperatures and or low, at high pressures and or low temperatures. Your question for John Secondary. State Boyle's law and give the conditions under which gases deviate from the law. Michael.
So, Boyle's law says that for a fixed mass of a gas, the volume is inversely proportional to the pressure at a constant temperature. And the conditions are very high pressures and low temperatures.
Conditions. Yes, Andrew.
And the conditions are very high temperatures and very low pressures.
You got the conditions mixed up. All I wanted were the high pressures, and you were adding other things. So again, you get 2 out of 3. Gases deviate from Boyle's law at high pressure. Okay? Your question to sex. What is a biosphere? What is a biosphere? Sing.
The biosphere is a part of the earth where life exists.
That's the yes. That is correct. For your secondary, what is biomass? Edward.
This is the dry mass per unit volume of a substance,
No, I
of
won't
an
take
organism.
that. I won't take that for biomass. Yes,
Okay.
Andrew.
The biomass is the mass of a dead organism per unit area, which does not contain.
No. People have used biomass wrongly for so long. What is biomass? Please, for a bonus.
Biomass forms the total organic material that is contained in an organism, whether plant or animal.
And for a bonus, too bad. It is the total mass of all the living matter in a population or in a given area. All right? So that is biomass. Your question to check Legon. Find the odd one out or pick the odd one out. Sphere, cone, tetrahedron, pyramid. The odd one. Only one attempt. Same. Yes. Sphere is correct. Take the odd one out. Line, ray, arc, line, segment. Michael.
Arc.
An arc is correct. Your final question for this round to check. Which substance is responsible for polarization in a Legon cell? Same.
Hydrogen gas.
That is correct. For John Secondary, your final for the round. What element is used for the negative pole in a Legon cell? Andrew.
Zinc.
Zinc is correct. And that brings us to the end of round 1. At the end of round 1, here are the scores. So John Secondary has 20 points, Presec School has 23 points. And now to round 2, the applied science round. You have 15 seconds in most cases to give me an answer. In some cases, you will have 30 seconds because questions involve calculation. Mark distribution is the same. So John, we'll start with you this time. Why does the meniscus of water in a glass container curve upward, while that of mercury curves downward?
Okay, this is because water has got a greater adhesive force than the coercive force. So the water molecules in the container tend to be attracted towards the walls of the container. This causes this meniscus to curve down. Mercury has got a greater coercive force than adhesive force. So the mercury molecules tend to attract each other to form something, a sort of ball-like structure, which makes the...
Andy, I've heard that. Adhesive forces where and cohesive forces where. Edward.
The water has got a greater adhesive forces between the glass walls and then the water molecules. The adhesive force between the glass walls and the water molecules is very great, so it causes the water molecules to be moved towards the glass.
And in the case of mercury?
In the case of the mercury, the cohesive force between the mercury molecules is greater than the cohesive force between
all right, so you get the same. Your question is this. A pin can float on water, but not on a soap solution. Explain this. A pin can float on water, but not on a soap solution. Explain this. Pin.
Okay, this is because in water has a surface tension, so that the surface of the water behaves as a film and can support the pin. But for a soap solution, the surface tension has been lowered, and therefore it cannot support the weight.
And that is correct. Come on, preamble, solve the equation for x. Solve the equation for x. Your equation for John. 4 raised to power x minus 6 into brackets 2x, 2 raised to power x, actually. Let me start again. 4 raised to power x minus 6 into brackets 2 raised to power x, brackets closed, minus 16 equals 0. Solve for x. Michael.
X is 3.
That is correct. Presec. 2 open brackets 2 raised to power 2x brackets closed minus 5 another bracket 2 raised to power x brackets closed plus 2 equals 0. Armstrong.
X equals 1 or minus 1.
That is correct. Common preamble to both schools, please listen. The metal with the highest melting point is tungsten. It melts at 3,380 degrees Celsius. So John secondly, what is the major use of tungsten in the field of electricity? Major use. And do.
It is used as filament in incandescent bulbs.
That is correct. Presec, name one important use of tungsten in the automobile industry. Armstrong.
Gas cookers.
No, not gas cookers. Pardon me?
Parts of engines.
No, automobile industry, please.
It's used in parts of engines because there's a lot of heat generated in the engine.
No, I won't take parts of engine. Program for a bonus. Program for a bonus, Andrew.
It is used in the combustion cylinder of the engine.
No, I won't take that. I have here, it's used in the contact set. It's used in the contact set of distributors. Your question for John secondly. When one exercises, the rate of breathing increases. Explain how this comes about.
Okay, when one is doing exercise, there is production of insulin in the body, which increases the blood sugar level, and also the heart begins to beat very fast. So therefore,
Andy, that's not true. Michael.
Because when exercise is taking place, the muscles of the body need oxygen for the muscular activities. And so the oxygen tends to be used up faster. And so respiration or breathing has to be faster so that
I won't take that. Explain how this comes about. Armstrong for a bonus.
Because as one exercises, the rate at which the muscles demand oxygen it does not, the muscle does not get that oxygen. So there's lactate fermentation.
No. Right. It's not coming. All this lactate fermentation that we are going to go through. When one exercises, the rate of carbon dioxide increases. And there are receptors in the aorta and the carotid arteries that are stimulated by this high carbon dioxide content of the blood. And they send impulses to the brain, or specifically the medulla oblongata, which in turn sends impulses to the respiratory muscles and the diaphragm. And then they increase the breathing movements. Okay, we wanted to know how this comes about. Your question said, what effect will the introduction of air into the pleural cavity have on the functioning of the lungs, and why? Then,
it will make breathing difficult. This is because the air will increase the pressure in the lungs. So taking air from outside into the lungs will be very difficult.
You can do better than that. What effect will it have on the lungs? Yes,
now,
Uncle.
The cavity between the pleural membrane and the lungs will also exert a pressure on the external, on the pressure in the lungs, so that you need a very high pressure to breathe in, because there's already pressure counteracting the atmospheric the decrease in pressure.
It's not coming. I'm not getting it. Pope John, do you want to try? Andrew.
When air enters the pleural cavity, since the pleural cavity is enclosed by the
and they won't be extended for you to breathe with them. Your question to John secondly. A girl standing in front of a plain mirror turns in the clockwise direction. In what direction will her image turn and why? Only one attempt. Andrew.
The image is turned anti-clockwise because plain mirrors form laterally inverted images.
That is correct. Explain practically how an object placed between two parallel mirrors produces an infinite number of images. Please.
Now, light travels, when the object is placed between the two mirrors parallel to each other, light travels from one mirror, from the object to both mirrors, and it's reflected along the normal, so that there's no angle, the reflected rays continue to reflect in alternating mirrors and to infinity.
That is correct. So, John, how many 4-digit numbers can be formed from the set A equals 1, 3, 5, 7, if each integer can be used only once? Andrew?
4.
That is correct. Presec, how many 4-digit numbers can be formed from the set A equals 5, 7, 8, 9, if each integer may be repeated? 2.
5, 6.
That is correct. So, John secondly, explain why a deficiency of vitamin D results in weak bones. Andrew.
Okay. This is because vitamin D is responsible or is needed for the synthesis of the bone cells. So in the deficiency of vitamin D, the bone cells do not mature very well, and therefore they...
Andrew, that is not true. Edward.
This is because the vitamin D is responsible for the formation of osteocytes, and the osteocytes are the cells formation, the cells that form.
Andrew, do you want to do better?
This is because vitamin D is responsible for ossification of
You know what, just stop there. For bonus Presec, yes, Tim.
This is because vitamin D is necessary for the absorption of calcium and phosphorus ions, which are needed for the strengthening of the bones. So if you take in less vitamin D, it means that you can't absorb enough calcium and phosphorus ions to strengthen your bones.
And therefore
you have weak bones. Weak bones, therefore you have...
No, you really went a long way, so I'll just give you the 1 mark. Because of of that, because the vitamin D isn't there for you to absorb the calcium from the intestine, the body itself takes it from the bones. And so you're actually taking calcium from the bones instead of the intestine, and that's what retains your bones. Your question, Presec. Explain why vitamin K deficiency results in prolonged bleeding from cuts.
This is because vitamin K is needed in the formation of prothrombin in the liver, which is necessary and an essential plasma protein for blood clotting. Therefore, if you are deficient in vitamin K, it will mean that you will not form enough prothrombin, which is needed for your blood to clot.
I'll give you the mark. Yeah, the prothrombin is a precursor for thrombin, which is the enzyme required to convert your fibrinogen to fibrin. And so if you don't have it, you tend to bleed. Your question, and is the final for this round, so John, only one attempt. How many carbons are there in the fatty acid palmitic acid? How many carbons are there in palmitic acid? Andrew?
18.
I'm sorry, that's not true. To check for a bonus. 10.
16.
And 16 is correct. To check your major question, how many carbons are present in stearic acid? 10.
18.
That is correct. And that brings us to the end of round 2. Let's hear the scores at the end of round 2. So John Secondary has 35 points. Presec School has 43 points. And now to round 3, the problem of the day. Viewers, I hope you are enjoying this. I am. Contestants, you have 3 minutes within which to solve the same problem, after which one of you from both schools will go to the board to present your solution. Please turn over your seat. I'll read the problem of the day. A certain bimetallic strip is made of brass and iron with linear expansivities of 1.9 times 10 to the minus 5 per Kelvin and 1.2 times 10 to the minus 5 per Kelvin respectively. At a certain temperature, 2 degrees Celsius, the length of the brass is 50 centimeters and that of the iron is 60 centimeters. If the bimetallic strip is heated, at what temperature will the length of the two metals be equal? Express your answer in terms of T. And that is the problem of the day. For staying with us, viewers, our contestants will now go to the board to show us how they solve the problem of the day. Our contestants have done what they can with the problem of the day. I'll now go through what I have and see how they fare. Now we say for the brass, let LB1 be 50 centimeters, which is 0.5 meters. And for the iron, let LI1 be 60 centimeters, which is 0.6 meters. Let delta T be the change in temperature and LB2 and L12 be the new length of the brass and iron respectively. In that case, LB2 will be LB1 into brackets 1 plus alpha beta delta T. What we have done is to put the LB1 outside, because LB2 could also be LB1 plus LB alpha B delta T. But we decided to just put the LB1 outside. So LB2 is LB1 into brackets 1 plus alpha B delta T, which is equal to 0.5 into brackets 1 plus 1.9 times 10 to the minus 5 times delta T. Similarly, Li2 equals Li1 into brackets 1 plus alpha I delta T, which is 0.6 into 1 plus 1.2 times 10 to the minus 5 delta T. Now we want the temperature where LB2 equals Li1. And at that point, 0.5 into 1 plus 1.9 times 10 to the minus 5 times delta T should be equal to 0.6 into 1 plus 1.2 times 10 to the minus 5 delta T. Once you make delta T the subject of your formula, working out those multiplications as you go along, you get to a point where 0.46 times 10 to the minus 5 times delta T equals 0.2, which implies that delta T is 0.2 times 10 to power 5 over 0.46. And so we get delta T to be 10 raised to power 5 over 2.3 degrees Celsius. But the desired temperature would then be T plus delta T. So the desired temperature is T plus 10 raised to power 5 over 2.3 degrees Celsius. And that is what we're testing today. Let's now go through the contestant solution. We'll start with the solution from Presec. Presec decided to work with variables until they had made delta T, or in this case, in their case, theta, the subject of the formula. So as I was saying, they decided that the new length for the metal should be the initial length plus alpha times the original length times delta T. And so you see them having equations like alpha B LB theta plus LB equals